Hey everyone, this is Effect DAO, and this is the DAO call. It's September 4th, 2024, and here's Jesse with some updates.
Thanks, DJ, for the intro. Happy to be back. I've been out of the traveling around for the last two DAO calls, so I wasn't able to join. I just got back from a small holiday. I feel energized and indeed happy to be back and catching up on all the progress. Um, Unfortunately, like the rest of the team couldn't join today. I spoke a bit with Lawrence and Jeffrey right before the DAO call. They couldn't make it at this hour, so I did get some updates from them that I can share with the rest during this call. And other than that, from my end, there is not a whole lot of technical updates that I can give right now. Also because I was away for a little bit, but I can give you guys some insight on the direction and also on the progress items that I discussed with the other guys. Um, yeah, like usual, I think that's it makes sense to kick off with that. So some updates from my end, and then we can look into any other activities of the DAO that are worth discussing, as I've been out of the running a bit. But I did not see any open proposals, so I assume it's not that much. Um, so I think, yeah, where to start? A lot of developments are happening right now. I think the first thing I want to clear, as of course a lot of people are very interested and waiting for updates on the V2 and where that's going. And what we've experienced over the last few weeks, months even, is that we've been encountering issues deploying the V2 to more and more users. A lot of issues we've encountered were around some functionalities and integrations and resource usage on the EOS side. And the main engineer that was implementing a lot of this was Jeffrey. And I had a good chat with Jeffrey about this multiple times. And like as we've discussed in previous DAO calls, we've also been looking into the migration to Solana, also the options of migrating the application of Effect to Solana. And what we've sort of decided right now as the most efficient approach is to not spend too many resources in the EOS V2 development right now. And it's quite a big decision. So that's why I also wanted to share it with everyone here. But if we look at the EOS developments and the energy in the ecosystem, but also the issues that we're encountering now and the efforts we needed to put in to make everything work, we have been toying around with this idea of actually migrating the app of Effect Force to Solana as well. And these ideas sort of crossed. And right now, our direction is to focus on the implementation of a Solana version of the application itself. At first, we were kind of daunted by this, as it would be like a massive delay potentially. But we're working towards a direction where we can have a fully integrated effect ecosystem on the Solana blockchain. And we're working out a proposal for that direction. So having like effect run natively on that chain, having full support for the Solana token in the effect ecosystem, also encompassing the DAO and the other elements of effect network. So that is the current direction that we're going in, and I'm very excited about it. I think it's a whole new world and a lot of new opportunities that are arising out of this. Seeing like what's happening currently in the Solana ecosystem, we've covered it in many DAO calls already. I think in general there is excitement about it, and the opportunities that we have moving in that direction are also pretty exciting. Um, but that is, I think, the main update I wanted to share here today. Also regarding the lack of updates you've been seeing on the V2 EOS development. as this was just like internally a topic that Jeffrey and me and Lawrence have been discussing a lot, and I think we made the right decision now to shift focus on that new direction. Um, that's some other things I can mention right now, but I will leave it at this for a bit and see if there's any comments. We don't have too many people in the call, but DJ, if you wanna comment on anything, feel free to do so.
So from what I understand, there was something that tipped the scales in EOS development that it made it seem that it's no longer fruitful to continue.
Yeah, I think that's basically what happened. So there was multiple issues that we encountered, complications that were, some of it were due to like EOS's new resource system, but some of it was also just because of like engineering issues we encountered as we scaled up to more workers. So and also like some of the frustrations arise from the fact that I think the new rollout of EOS tokenomics and how that turns out are not very motivating to us when it looks at like when you look at like the RAM price and consumption that is used by Effect Force. We were doing these measurements and calculations, and it just turns out quite expensive, and it just didn't feel very healthy moving forward in that direction. So yeah, that's basically what happened at that moment. At that moment, it does not look very fruitful to continue in this direction, as the number of just the development hours required are quite high, and it feels like it's a direction that's not going to get us um, in an amazing place where we want to be, and it feels like there is way more opportunity waiting for us, taking the direction and doing a proper migration to Solana and having an application working there. That of course takes a bit more effort, but the opportunity is significantly bigger, and that's going in that route. Those were basically the considerations we had as we discussed and went through making this decision.
Well, from what I understand, that in response to Alan, uh, pretty much all the AI projects are on Solana, and as well as the other project you're associated with, Nosana. So I assume there's like a lot of experience in dealing with AI clients and also um, building apps on there. I think my main concern is like from what I understood, with the EOS stuff, it's building upon something that's already been built. With a migration, we'll need to build something completely new. But do we have like the team for it? Because it doesn't seem like we have a substantial big enough team unless you want to give us like a 2-year estimate or something for migration.
Very good questions. Also want to like, I think Alan's question is related. He posted in the chat. So we really got nowhere in the last 6 months to a year, and what time scale are we looking at? I think that's very, very fair question as well. And then also what you said, DJ. So yeah, these are things to consider, and we're optimistic on like the efforts required, because it's not like we have to redo everything. And we're working on a solution right now. So like it's not. We will come out with a timeline on implement and the implementation details. Um, we are looking at sort of a hybrid solution where it's still the current, like the force that's working, like that we've been building, the Force V2, but powered by Solana, and it will have a few advantages that we can factor in while migrating the technology. We're not going to start from scratch on the whole thing. That won't be required. But on the protocol level, there will be a few big improvements, like very significant big improvements that we're going to propose. So the proposal that's going to come out from us is exactly the technical changes required and the benefits we get from that. Um, and like another overarching goal here is that it will become a very wholesome solution to this fragmented ecosystem that we're getting, being on Binance Smart Chain and EOS and Solana, like to get a bit more rid of that fragmentation and have a way more solid solution on a lot of things. So that's I don't want to come like if I would go into more details, it's just gonna get vague because we I want to stay a bit more concrete, but that those are the goals that we're trying to achieve with this proposal. And the timelines won't be that crazy, Alan. Like it will not be uh, that crazy. And also, we do not want to end up with this fragmented network. Like effect network shouldn't be fragmented across all these chains where the DAO lives on EOS and like the liquidity lives on Binance Smart Chain and this other thing lives there. And if a new chain like Tron, what if Tron becomes the biggest chain in the world and suddenly it gets these amazing features? Um, Indeed, like it shouldn't be our strategy to just hop over every time something like that comes along and we fragment more. So the solution will encompass more of a consolidation and creating a wholesome solution to the problem that we're solving. Um, and we do intend to have the whole package like ready like this cycle. So like this year. Not that it's like running on mainnet ready, but that it's tangible and running.
This year, you mean by the
And
end of
and
December, or like within
we
the
want
year?
to have the package ready as in the proposal, the development timelines, and also like the concrete like migration details of what that would entail.
Okay, so migration would involve unifying everything on Solana. Um, will we see something kind of like Neo, like in the past, where in the migration to EOS, where people had to kind of redeem their tokens, and there was like a deadline on that?
I'm not going to go into the details of that.
Okay,
So we're going to propose like I think we have a beautiful way to do this. Also from our very rich experience in doing this before, and like yeah, what we've learned along the way. So, but we will propose this written down in detail. I cannot really go into that right now, as it's not. Yeah, that would be too soon.
all right. And how far along would you say V2 is? Because you said that Solana could actually create this, like, I guess, partial system. What's remaining left with V2 EOS side?
So V2 is on the EOS side is albeit some bugs and like syncing issues and just some hiccups in the user experience and being quite expensive. It's running. So the expensiveness is an issue that we're like trying to like V2 was designed to be affordable and to support large amount of data sets. And with current RAM costs and yields, it requires all these optimizations to be able to handle a lot of data. And the thing is, going to Solana, storing data on Solana is also expensive. So what we're hoping to achieve here is solving that issue and putting certain things off chain and working on a technological improvement that's going to solve that issue. And that's what we're straight away want to implement on the Solana side. So uh, that, but other than that, like the hiccups I just mentioned, basically V2 is working. So it is running. It's just that it's not really practically usable because of the reasons that I just mentioned,
So
and that's where
so
things
you
are slower right now.
so it's just more like it's just more expensive. So it's not it's less scalable because it costs more money, basically, right?
Yes, yeah.
So that was like, yeah, for a long time, I think the main argument for EOS was that it was incredibly cheap to do transactions. and that's was beneficial for the workers. And now that that's gone, I guess well, yeah, I think we talked this before in like maybe a DAO call months ago, that the tokenomics model for EOS is now based on, it's like they have an incentive like to increase the price of RAM. So the transactions cost go up. While in Solana, I've noticed that they are doing whatever they can to lower transaction costs. There used to be like a big issue, and they kind of made an update to lower the cost. So the incentives over the long term should align with what we need, and that's cheap transaction fees.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, so that's currently, yeah, that's currently what's a big bother, that RAM gets expensive, and the current design is that it consumes quite a bit of RAM to do tasks, and that's one issue that makes it like it's kind of doable right now, but it's just not future proof, and it won't, like when a real client comes on board, it just won't scale, and that yeah, that sucks, and it means that we need to solve something to make that work. um,
So then there is a lot of like,
just reading. Go ahead.
so as you mentioned, you were all looking into like optimizations, and the man hours spent on this seems kind of like wasteful compared to like building up Effect Force, especially since EOS is a very obscure platform at this point.
Yeah, no, exactly. So all the time invested right now in making our product work really well on EOS, which is possible. We could do that. We could make it work really well in EOS. It would take a bunch of hours. We would like uh, we would get to a point where we can onboard clients. Um, like we've been trialing a few clients already, and it's just the process just isn't smooth enough right now. So the hours required are more than we initially thought. But if we look at like the enthusiasm and the potential of moving to Solana in a more significant way, it's just a huge potential. Like uh, there's a lot of opportunity there, and we definitely are yeah, think that that's where effect should be going to be successful. Like for the same reasons we proposed the migration, that was received really well. And as we're getting closer to executing that migration, we feel that the power move and the move that makes effect a success is not to keep the current product there, working a bit flawed and expensive on EOS, and then migrating the token to Solana, or even just bridging it, that it can go back and forth, which fragments things even more. Like on all aspects of the product, on the side of workers, on the side of the DAO, on the side of development, on the side of requesters wanting to use the platform, having such a fragmented and also quite confusing setup does not feel good. People will shy away from that. That's what I really believe. And having like what we're envisioning now, and how we're seeing this work, building the foundational pieces and migrating the foundational pieces to Solana, I think will create a wholesome experience for all the parties I just mentioned to use this platform, and it will be very attractive for people to get involved. And we think the efforts are basically very small. If you look at all the efforts that need to happen anyways with maintaining a bridge and maintaining like the EOS side where there just is not much traction. So being on EOS doesn't do us any favors at the moment. And a product is never finished, right? Like it's you never have a product where at some point it's working and all the devs they can go work on something else. Now you always need to maintain and update and add features. So like the amount of cumulative effort having to go into that platform on EOS to make it work and worthwhile, and to make it grow into sort of mass adoption is immense compared to the amount of effort we would have to put to migrate the parts that are currently EOS focused and improving them and putting that on Solana. It is just way more efficient. So I think looking at it from a little bit of a few steps back, and also forgetting, like, taking into consideration how much effort we've already been put in, I think it's still worth it to go into this direction. Else we wouldn't propose it. So yeah, I hope that puts it into perspective. And I was reading in the comments Ellen's feedback, which is, I think, great. Thanks for being here, Ellen, and I totally get what you're saying. So he says, I know you're not interested in the price of EFX, but unless things change, EFX price will disappear along with EFX. And we will also drop Binance Smart Chain. And he also asks if the information is very sensitive, if that's why we cannot, about the migration, and why we don't go into the details now. These are all very fair questions. Like, the reason we don't go into details now is I don't want to sketch a confusing or wrong image. I think I want to communicate a bit more clear. I'm happy to go into details and brainstorm and tell you guys what we're thinking. But I feel like in this DAO call, I just want to convey information a bit more clearly so it doesn't sound too confusing. But it also won't take long before we will share like an official like draft with the information points there. It will also include if we like will drop Binance Smart Chain, or like, these are all, I think there's a lot of things to consider in this migration path, even in the bridge that we proposed before. That's a small part of it. If you look at a more wholesome migration that I mentioned, there's just more elements to it that need to be discussed. But I hope, yeah, I'm not going to go into the details right now because it's just going to be confusing, I think. Instead, well, I'll try to like relay the information more clearly from a strategic standpoint.
So moving forward, you'll say that the EOS v2 work is done, and now we're gonna move basically all Solana stuff.
Yeah, so moving forward is that we will come up with a proposal on how that is going to look, and it will be like concrete in all the elements, because we have so much happening on EOS, we have a bunch happening on Binance Smart Chain. What is the fact network going to look like on Solana? I think that's a question we need to answer anyways. Until now, we've been vague about it, and the excitement of moving to Solana has been amazing. I think that most of us here share that excitement. And we need to really create clear technical, the clear technical goals and steps needed on getting there, getting the product on Solana. So the next, like, what we will produce is what that looks like. The current product in EOS, we will do some updates still. I mean, like I said, we're not going to throw that away. There is a lot of value like in that V2. I guess like 70%, 60% of that is valid, like is going to be used and is going to be required, no matter what blockchain we're going to use anyway, as it involves lots of logic. Like Effect Network is doing a lot more than transactions on the blockchain, as there is a lot of like stuff happening, right? There's like uploading of data to IPFS, and there's rendering HTML templates with placeholders, and all that we made for V2, like the Python SDK is for a large part also like the data model that's being used. All of these elements are still going to be used. But currently the design of that new app is being worked on, and like there's it's slightly bigger scope. Like, one of the things that we already know have to be solved that we did not solve yet in V2 is dealing with encrypted data. as we need to be able to encrypt data and make sure that only the relevant parties can see and decrypt data. It's something that we've been sketching out on EOS, and now it's a perfect opportunity to create to create a proper solution that fits in as well. So like we're going to make a lot of improvements as well while creating this proposal. Um, so there, yeah, that's one, and the other part is like the expansion basically of the migration plan. So the current information that we've discussed with the DAO was mainly around the bridge. There's been some proposals about it. We will extend that as well with the new information on how the token migration will look like. And yeah, and important, like we will put that as well up for discussion once it's all on paper. But yeah, it does mean that, so sorry to get back to the question, DJ, the current EOS based FXV2 will get minor improvements and updates still. Um, as far as they are relevant for a potential, for a migration away from EOS as well. And that's still quite a bit. So there's still work to be done, and that app will receive updates. Um, so I hope that answers the question.
I think basically, if I were to just give a rough estimate, most of the DAO would support, what you described is basically going to be a full migration to Solana, right? And that what Alan says really
Yeah,
is just the question of manpower, because so far it's really just been you and Jeffrey, right? Um,
yeah. So far, yeah. So to make this work and to reach the deadlines, we will have a bigger team working on this. So the manpower needs to be increased. That's 100% clear. But we will have more manpower and more the devs and also marketeers to work on this effort.
that's good to know that you'll be expanding, um, because it definitely will require a lot of resources. I think it's always hard to do this, but I think it's the right decision. EOS is probably like one of the most obscure chains there is now. Like it feels like only the other successful project is what was that NFT game? I forgot it, but that's the only one I can think of. So
Like the wars, Alien Wars or something,
no, no,
or
not Alien Wars.
I think it's on Wax.
It's oh, it's not like that important, but like there's not very apps I can think of on EOS. While there's plenty of like there's Hive, which is doing their own Google like the maps type stuff like on crypto. Then there's Nosana, as we all know. There's trying to think of another one. Well, either way, Solana. It's not just that Solana is the biggest project. It's that there's a lot of complementary projects on Solana, right? Because we want to focus on AI data set creation, and this can be like integrated with various, applications that use Solana. So having it all unified on Solana instead of as you call it, a fragmented system, I think will be all beneficial. Like the only concern I think people have is the manpower. So as long as you can promise that there'll be more developers, that so we have a good time frame of implementing this, I think it's a necessary development. I've always been supportive of EOS because it was cheap to do transactions, but like that's the last reason it's gone. So like, what's the point in staying on here? Um, so I'm favorable. I'm looking forward to this plan to see it more in detail. I think people will be supportive, though. As you said, you gave us the estimate to create the plan, so this is like a 2025 type thing. So um, it is kind of disappointing to like not quite get to where we want to be in regards to having tasks running on the platform, but I think we need to go ahead and do it. Like enough things have happened that we should just migrate. Oh, here's Dove
Yeah.
with a question. Do you plan to attend Solana Breakpoint?
Yes. Yeah. I will definitely be there. And also, like, a personal goal for me is to be able to come up with already the very clear information and answers to some of the questions you guys asked here during Breakpoint. So there will be a lot of opportunities there to network um, and spread the word and already increase a lot of interest into the project. And what you mentioned, DJ, that a big concern is the manpower and the team. As we've been working with a very small team for a while now, and it's been a sort of a handicap because we were not able to execute as fast as we would have been able to with a big team. Um, but at the moments like these where we're going into a slightly different direction, it also helps to have a smaller team right now. And one thing that I know for a fact is that it's going to be a lot easier to scale and hire quickly more people to work on this direction. Now, if we put like a very um, clear kind of ambitious, but like at least a bold goal of this with this migration, it's going to be a lot easier to find and fund extra devs to work on this. So um, yeah, this we definitely need a bigger team, and that's also part of the plan to scale up the power. Like once that plan is clearly laid out and it's looking good, we get green lights, then we will have more people working on this to execute it faster. And there will be multiple stages as well. So obviously, no moments to wait 4 months until we have some tangible technology out there, like at least a token use case and a token that's out there. So those things will be all factored in and put on a roadmap that hopefully everyone is happy with. Um, yes, and about Breakpoint, yes, I will be at Breakpoint. So if anyone is there, by the way, from the community listening, always happy to meet up. I will be at the main event of Breakpoint, a couple of side events. I will share this on my Twitter. So always happy to say hi, meet up, and chat more.
Well, and so as you mentioned, are these details still being brainstormed? Because I wonder how we have the EFX and NFX tokenomics. Do you think they will stay the same, or would we have an opportunity to change it?
We have an opportunity to change it, I think. Um, I don't want to go into too much detail here. Like at least I can like what I'm saying here is just purely sort of in a brainstorming fashion. But I think we have the opportunity to change it, and I think it's far from ideal how it's currently working. Like as in it's a bit confusing, and just the token relations between the two are slightly vague. Um, and yeah, there's definitely a good opportunity to change this and make this into a better system. And like one thing put up front, like every element of the current effect network that we have will keep its value going to a new effect. Like if we migrate or bridge, right? So NFX and EFX and stake age and DAO, the DAO elements, they should all remain their value and all be put over. But there is just a ton, like so many different ways to do it. So having better tokenomics is the chance, I think, uh, to clean up and to improve the elements that can be improved. And if so I think if like this is not my decision, right? This is a decision of basically all of us. So these things will need to be approved and decided upon. But I think the opportunity to improve it is here,
Yeah,
and it's fun, and I think we should be able to do that. Like we shouldn't be too shy about making the the network better.
yeah, this will definitely have to be a DAO decision. Um, However, I think we should be open to whatever tokenomics are the most optimal for success, not necessarily what we've been doing, right? Uh, like even minor things like the whole, um, like I remember it was like one ancient proposal that allows people to get, the whatever remains of a cycle budget as rewards. I mean, maybe it'll be better just to have a static reward instead. Things like that. Like if we're doing a migration, we shouldn't be limited, to what, the kind of like the incremental stuff that's been happening. But yeah, as you said, it should all be, written out and voted upon. So as Alan asked, the people who pay to NFX, I would hope they are DAO members and vote and make their opinions known on any tokenomics changes, because I think it's a good idea to consider things that are best for the, affect AI in the long term.
Yeah, absolutely. So in essence, NFX it exists and it will exist like that. That's just the current situation, and also the in essence what will always be the situation until we decide to change it in a proposal. But as this is an opportunity to change these things, I think like my vote would probably go to an improved structure. Although I think like the FX network will work with NFX there as well. I just think it will work slightly better when we consolidate it. And I think anyone that bought NFX at any time will like it will be like, of course, no one will be hurt by this. Like we're not going to like take it away and give nothing back, right? At least that and also considering the NFX holders are the people with the most vote weight. Of course, in the DAO, I don't see that happening. But I think we can come to like a solution that's a bit better than the current one, which is going to be a fun discussion.
Yeah, I'm probably like the only one that remembers it, but there were ancient debates to consolidate the tokens right when the DAO started. So it'll be interesting to see the options we have. Um, though of course the priority really is just getting Effect Force out on Solana. The DAO stuff, I don't know, like maybe it will be more popular on Solana and people will be more encouraged to participate. I guess I guess it's all up now on the whole migration plan, which I think quite a few people will be very hyped to hear, if not disappointed with the timing of things, because they probably would have preferred to have this done like the beginning of this year. But I think it'll be good to finally make the migration to Solana, because I think that would just I think solve a lot of problems we've been having since for years really.
Yeah, yeah, true. And I think like if you look at just the size of the Solana ecosystem and the community there, it's huge. And I think a lot of people could be interested if we can make a governance system work there. We can get a lot of new people involved and exciting DAO members. And I think the current like anyone that's been currently in the DAO, like looking at stake age and NFX should be just completely reflected in whatever if there's going to be a new system, right? So just to ensure Alan as well that of course that's the intent, that's what's going to happen. So
Yeah, I think it would be good to have
um,
a fully updated white paper, because the one that's up out there is just for the Neo one, and a lot has changed since then. It would be good to have just a kind of a statement of intent, I guess, in a way.
for sure, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what's needed. And just that white paper is so outdated. And if you look at how much the world has changed since that white paper was written, especially the AI space, how much has changed in the ecosystem and what's being done. Like it's a completely different animal now than it was then. And it's a fun read because it's sort of relevant in a lot of ways. And I think it but back then it was actually an exact, yeah, it was made during that time. and touching those topics. And it sort of looked ahead. And I think we went into the direction that white paper was pointing in. But today we're just in a completely new era of artificial intelligence. And like again, we can plot ahead. Where is it going? And I think the new white paper should take for granted where we are now and point where's the industry going, and where should effect network be to provide that decentralized infrastructure that we're set out to do. So absolutely, we will need a new paper to do that.
Yeah, I guess for now we just have to wait until. So there'll be preliminary ideas, and then the white paper, I think, which is sorely needed, will be like the complete, like I guess the white paper for the plan for Solana migration, because a lot of the stuff, it's some things will probably be uh debated, because, for example, Alan talked about, the ratio. If we were to consolidate NFX and EFX, there would be like some sort of ideal ratio. But that also would incorporate a lot of EFX tokens. So, but I think there's probably benefit, as Dove said, that it's too complicated, and like people have been saying that for years, right? Um, so I think it will be good to make it simpler. Uh, though I think we should still keep stake age, because that encourages people to stay in longer. But yeah, like I guess we're now waiting on all these ideas to come out, and but so for the summary, I just want to confirm, because this is a big DAO call. It marks a very big shift, right? We the effect AI is moving towards a full migration towards Solana, because the EOS tokenomics have changed such that it's become too expensive to do the transactions needed for the effect force, and as such, uh, and along with that, it takes a lot of manpower to optimize this, when EOS itself is a very obscure chain that has very little activity. So the the new consensus among the team is that it's better to just stop where we are now and focus on Solana, to do a full migration, consolidate everything on Solana, um, because this will be, I guess, the most effective use of your resources and time. Is that a good summarization?
Yes, that's a great summary, DJ. Exactly.
Okay, and so along with that, we will, in the coming months, be given both ideas for brainstorming, because it'll be nice, to discuss, the proposals, through DAO proposals and stuff in the DAO, how things should be done on Solana. But this will culminate into a white paper for like the full transition, and then it will be acted upon in 2025, right?
Yes, that's right.
Okay. So I'm sure, yeah, as Dove is happy, let's go. Yeah, I think a lot of people are happy for this. The delay sucks. It does, but like, I mean, Solana is just so much more active than EOS. This is something people have always wanted. So um, we'll just have to wait a bit, a bit longer to finally have the tasks flowing like I wanted. But I can wait, for Solana for sure.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's it's. I think that was a great summary. Thanks, DJ. And indeed, there is the big downside of waiting longer, and
Oh,
definitely being tested on patients. So, and I feel it. But yeah, the excitement is also, I think, immense, and it's a very exciting, I think, and like you said, also a pivotal DAO call, and it's very exciting trajectory. And I'm happy to see Dove happy. Alan has a time limit, but I'm sure
Yeah, yeah.
we won't make you.
Let's get the migration done
Yeah.
in 2025. Let's get it done. So I think was there anything else you wanted to discuss?
No, this was the main topic. I think, yeah, just the regular DAO topics. I think are there's no proposals, and I think I didn't miss too much in my times in my weeks away. So I think we're good for this call for my end.
Yeah, there's a lot of content in this call for the Miguel and I have drafted and passed the proposal for him to be compensated to help create the shorts. And well, I think these are pretty good. This is pretty good content to put in shorts because I think people would like the change in trajectory. Um, aside from that, I requested a refund of the USDC I spent putting it the BSC token, like EFX BSC token on Dex Screener. Um, the only other thing is I think you still need to execute or confirm the transaction for the high guard um, multisig thing.
Of course, yeah. I'll look at that today, right after the call. Yeah, I didn't check that yet. I will sort it.
Yeah, we need that so we can execute it. But aside from that, the DAO stuff is pretty low intensity right now. I guess we're kind of figuring out. Like I think you didn't mention this, but I'm sure this was definitely another factor, and that's that USDT basically stopped working with EOS. Like they just ended their support.
Yeah, that was a big blow back then, and indeed a factor to that we consider. For me, it was specifically very annoying when that happened because yeah, having a stable currency is just very important for these types of products that we're making, where people put in work and they earn. It just you need to somehow have a stable currency there. Like it's what the normal people not in Web3 that we also want to target are used to. So not having that at all is a big issue as well. And yeah, absolutely. Like there's I think yeah a lot of factors why EOS isn't it isn't really working and going in a direction that I think will make it a top player anytime soon. And that's just yeah, I really like EOS. I think the technology is amazing, and I really like the people there. But there's also just the reality of that I think is hard uh, to to fix as a project building a product.
All right, then I think then we covered everything, and this will be, I guess, a pretty big update to post. I'll start working on the summary right after this. But I think it's a necessary change in direction. Even though I myself wanted the V2 to be out, if it's like we can't really, too many things have changed with EOS to make that unsustainable. So I'm glad we're making the full shift.
Happy to hear it. Yeah, good call, guys. Thanks for all the questions.
Yeah,
And excited for the next ones.
yeah, we're excited too to see the proposals and I guess the first drafts of what we plan to do in the full migration to Solana. All right, then that's till next time then. Hmm.
Yes, till next time, everyone.
Bye.